Okay, great. So thank you so much for being here. I'm really excited to chat with everyone today about Yamim and Ramat Poleg. I especially want to say a huge, huge thank you to Maxine and to Robert for the phenomenal, phenomenal videos you guys put together for us, which are just so amazing and so helpful and
so much fun.
So much fun. You know what? I feel like there's a business there, because if every community had that, so many more people would be clear on what's the right place for them, because you guys did such a phenomenal job with...
Please don't tell anybody else to copy our job there. That's our job that we do.
It's our secret.
It's your secret, but I'm telling you, it's amazing, amazing. So I'm just telling the people that are watching, what I did was, because the files were so big, and it's hard to share so many big files through WhatsApp, is I just uploaded them to the cloud, and I made a playlist, so you can just create it as, I can just share a link, and then people can just access it through the link. And I'm happy to talk with you guys about how I can either share the link with you, or you can create it on YouTube, and it's even easier to just do it on YouTube. So the video showed really exactly what this area it looks like. What's the difference between Ramat Poleg and Yamim, both visually and on the outside and on the inside. We got to see a house in Ramat Poleg, and we also got to see the apartment in Yamim. And I guess what I wanted to start off with was, I know that you work in the real estate world, but before we get into the talking about the properties, there were a couple of big picture questions that the ladies in my group had that I wanted to run by you and also by Roslyn, which are really essential. Because on the outside, everything looks awesome, and there's so many people interested. But I think what we're all wanting clarity on is the people. Like, who are the people in this community, and specifically the types of people that the ladies in my group are interested in is, like, who are the families? Is there an active community for people with young kids? What sorts of activities are there, whether it's in the shul or outside of the shul, for people to really come together, socialize, meet each other? How does that, I'm sure that already exists where you guys are, but how does one plug into it, and what's the scene like? What if you could describe that?
Okay, so I'll start very briefly. First of all, I want a very, very short introduction to who I am. Okay. My name's Maxine, as everybody knows. I'm originally British, still got the accent. Lived in Israel for 32 years, very happy to say, along with this lovely gentleman here.
We were actually married in the UK a year before we made Aliyah.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
So, and we have a family business with 3 children, all working in the business. And we absolutely run it with a passion of life and passion of our business and a passion of pink. All our branding is in pink. Now, we came to Ramat Poleg.
Wait, why the pink though? You have to tell us why pink.
Really probably about 15, 20 years ago, I being, you know, typical girly, loved pink, and it just grew. And we decided to do branding, and we have pink cars, pink and black cars, pink and white cars, and it just became fun. And in my personal opinion of life, you know, whatever makes life more fun and more interesting, go for it. There's too many issues. We're all having a terrible time coping with this crazy world of Corona. So if I make people smile by seeing this crazy big pink car, Ross sees it regularly driving around, look at her face, smiling now.
Color named after you in the community. It's Maxine Pink.
Yeah. So we moved to Ramat Poleg 32 years ago. We're in our middle 50s, and we raised 3 fabulous children through all the schools and through everything.
Through the army,
through the country club, through the shul, through everything. So I'll tell you a little bit my age, and then Roz will go on to tell you about the younger community, because I'm already on the grandmother stage of the kids in the area. So we also want to have, I've got my circle of friends and my circle of clients who are my age and above and lower, because Ros bought her beautiful home from me as well a good few years ago. So there's absolutely everything for everybody. But Ros will now tell you a little bit about the younger generation. Over to you, my love.
Well, first a bit about myself. I moved here about 7-8 years ago. I'm originally from Seattle, Washington. My husband's from Muncie, New York. And we have 3 kids here. We're very happy here. When I first moved here, it was the young religious community, English speaking, was very small. I was probably the youngest in the shul. But over the years, we've done, different dinners and, connected to a lot of different people, and a lot of new young families have moved here. Now we have easily, who go to the shul often, I'd say 15, 20 young families, religious.
We've got 4 new ones coming this week.
A lot coming. Yeah, this month is over full. And yeah, now there's a B'nai Akiva they started a year or 2 ago, that for I think starting 1st or 2nd grade. And so that's Shabbat afternoon, and they're doing programs throughout the week all the time. And there's a very nice young child, young kids scene there. They do davening on Shabbat in the shul.
What's the name of your shul?
Young Israel.
Okay.
There's a few schools in most of the English speakers tend to go to the Young Israel because that's where the English speakers are. It's New York Young Israel style.
The rabbi, we have a new rabbi in the shul, and he's very young. He's been with us for about 8-9 years. And he's young, he's got a young family. He's great.
He's fabulous. And he's also done a lot of the pushing to get everything active and going here with the B'nai Akiva and the religious school. We have a religious school here in the area for now 6 years, I think. It's a good religious school. I'm sending my kid there. My oldest is going. And
it's elementary, the religious school?
The religious school is elementary, yes.
And where do kids go for high school?
So for high school, right now, the options are right outside this area. Some high schools are, Maxine, you also probably know this information better than I do. My kids aren't that old, but I believe there's in Vatican, right outside, 5-10 minutes.
There's about 3 or 4 different choices, and it's a matter of which the kids' friends are going to. You generally want your kids to go to a school where all the friends are going there. So there's plenty of choices.
And is the quality of education good?
Well, we've raised 3 kids, 2 gone to university, all happy, successful. Let me emphasize on the happy and loving life, because to me that's the most important thing, and that comes from the home, not necessarily the school. So yes, good education.
And I'm sorry, Rosalind, did you want to add more before we ask you questions?
Well, you can ask me questions and I'll fill in blanks what your focus is on.
So how many, on a typical Shabbat, let's say outside of Corona times, on a typical Shabbat, do women actually show up to shul, or is it just the guys go?
So I typically don't go Friday nights, but I do hear there is a nice amount of women who go Friday nights. They might not necessarily be younger. There's a few young, but
I mean, on Shabbat day.
Afternoon for sure. There's a kids minyan every day, and they give out popsicles or something after, and all the kids join. And there's a little playground you saw in the videos.
Yeah.
And all the kids are running around there, kicking soccer balls. And most of the time there's the kiddush, again, before Corona times.
They nearly all go back to Ros's house afterwards to play. Her kids did bring everybody. She lives across the road from the shul. Her husband's president of the shul, so nearly always her kids say, "Come on, let's go to my house to play."
Or a big Cholent whiskey after shul fan.
And the B'nai Akiva, is that linked to your shul, or it's for the community altogether?
Community as a whole, it just happens to be located in the shul. That's where their meeting place is.
Okay, got it. Now, the other question I had was, if people want to break out of the Anglo bubble a little bit and connect to some of the other younger families in the area that might go to, like, I don't know, like a Sephardic shul, or just like like Israeli shuls, like Hebrew speaking shuls. Is there options that's close by?
There's tons of shul options. There's Chabad, which also has actually a lot of young people.
Where is that Chabad? Where is Chabad? Is that in Ramat Poleg?
It's in Yamim. The whole thing is within 5-10 minutes anywhere from Ramat Poleg. It's all the same area, really. And the Chabad has a lot of young people, not a lot of English speakers, though. And there's a bunch of schools also in Gans here who have some English speakers, some yes, some no, with different backgrounds, Sephardic backgrounds. But also in our shul, there are Israelis.
Okay.
And French. There's a lot of French in general in the area. Our shul has a few of them. But like most of my best friends actually are Israeli.
Oh, wow. Okay. And you guys mentioned that there's a lot of people coming. What do you mean? Like all new Olim are coming? You're expecting some new families?
Yeah, we've got, I'll start with there and then Ros will tell you, because obviously my business, I'm having a lot of people contact me. I've got coming this week and next week, 3 or 4 different families. And one lovely family that Ros knows is coming, that actually went to live in Jerusalem for a year, realized it wasn't for them, got 3 small children, and they're coming to our area, and they're arriving next week. So far, absolutely loving the vibe of the area. It's a very fun area. It's by the sea. It's, you know, a mixture of a holiday feeling and life. You see kids around. Next week, I've got a New York client coming with 5 children. Who else have we got? We've got another family that made Aliyah. They're in quarantine at the moment with 4 young kids and 2 husky dogs. He was quite a challenge to try and find somewhere to live with 2 dogs. The kids was okay, but most landlords are not really happy about these 2 great big husky dogs. So we've got lots and lots of different Americans coming over at the moment. More the Americans than the English.
Yeah, no, I know about that. What about rent versus buying? Do most people start out with rentals, or have you found that most people buy right away?
I'm a big fan of people not rushing to make any decisions till they know what they want. So generally people will rent for the first year to 2. By the second year, if they haven't fallen in love, then I've not done anything right. And I've never had that happen. Somebody's not loved the area. And then they either go on to buy or continue renting. Everybody's financial situation is different. But most people, Ros started when she first came. Was it about 7 years when you were in Jerusalem too, Ros?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Yeah, so they rented there for a couple of years before they started the family. Then they bought a home and moved over to opposite the shul.
And do you work with people as far as rentals, or do you mainly focus on for sale?
Rina, like we said when we first spoke, I work on what somebody wants. So if they want rental, we'll look for rentals. To me, it makes no difference. I've got to get them to fall in love with the area, and that happens so naturally. So rental, long-term rental, and don't do short-term rental. Long-term rental, 6 months to a year, and a sales.
And as far as inventory I know most people like to move around early summer when the school year is finished and they want to get set up before the new school year begins. How would you recommend, as far as someone who wants to move to Yamim or Poleg, as far as when they should start looking for available rentals or even available housing, to buy?
Okay. So if it's to buy, then they can start to do it 4 to 6 months before, either through FaceTime, WhatsApp, videos, sending lots of different options. If it's for renting, then 2 to 3 months before. The business of real estate, like anywhere in the world, is dynamic. So, today I might have 10 apartments on the market. They might all go within 2 weeks, and then 3 weeks' time, I'll get something new. When I've got in my database, when I know what somebody's looking for, I can quickly say, so-and-so, something new's come in, it looks fantastic, it suits all your tick boxes. Because the buildings in Yamim have all got Shabbos lifts. So that's why a lot of people like the buildings there. Houses, people want to have private gardens for the kids to play. So that's why sometimes people do, yes, start in buildings and then realize they want a house, or there's some people like this family with the dogs that can't take dogs into a building.
Yeah.
Or you can take dogs, but not huge, great big huskies of 2 huskies going into an apartment.
I think I'm gonna put.
How old's Audrey's daughter there? She
Yeah, I
looks
was just
very.
about to ask Aubrey to talk. Yeah.
Give us a wave. Come on.
I'm gonna be 15.
Oh wow.
And you're beautiful. So every Israeli young boy's gonna say, "Who's that beautiful American girl?"
But she has an Israeli look as well.
Yeah.
She does.
Definitely.
Aubrey, you had some questions that you texted me. I'd rather you ask them than me do it. So why don't you go ahead and ask Maxine?
Okay, so we own right outside of Philadelphia, and so I've never bought property elsewhere. My question was, when you're renting in America versus you're renting in Israel, what comes with your rental fee and what are the new expectations? Someone told me that even when you rent, you have to buy appliances, which...
Okay, very, very, very good question.
And then taxes, who pays taxes if you're renting? If you're owning, are you paying more taxes?
Okay. Let me answer all of those. Okay, so when you're renting in Israel, I will have landlords who will give me various different options. They'll give me an empty apartment with no electrical appliances and no furniture. That might suit one person. I'll have another landlord who will give me a fully furnished apartment with electrical appliance, with beds, with sofas. It all depends on every single apartment. There's no black and white. Every apartment's different. If somebody comes and says to me, listen, Maxine, for the first year, I want to have an apartment with electrical apartments. I don't want electrical appliances. I don't want to start buying and everything. My job is to find you that right apartment. So that's the question about. So there's everything from furnished, non-furnished, part furnished, and the price varies. You know, if you're renting an apartment without furniture, it's obviously cheaper than renting with furniture. But if you're needing to come straight away and you want your shipments not coming for later, sometimes it's a softer landing. Yes, to have furnished, and then your furniture comes later on, but it's all a matter of personal taste. And then the other question you asked about the taxes. So when you talk about the taxes, you mean the municipality tax that you pay every 2 months in Israel, yes?
Yes, that
Yeah.
as well as I'm sure you have taxes if you're living in a building, like in a high rise, versus if you're living in a home.
Yeah.
Taxes.
So the tenant pays all that. The landlord doesn't pay anything. Once you rent an apartment, if the actual apartment is, let's say, 7,000 shekels, the maintenance might be another 1,000, and the monthly cost for the municipality for the roads and the rubbish bin and all the municipality services is an extra. But what I always say to my clients is, tell me how much your budget you roughly want to spend, and I've got to try and make sure that the rental includes all those things in it. You don't want to tell me your budget is 10 and then I come along and tell you, okay, by the time you've added everything on, it's already 12, 13. So those are things that me and my clients, we build it together to make sure I find what's right for you.
So,
Did that answer you?
Yes, thank you.
So in America, when you rent, you don't have to pay water, you don't have to pay garbage, all that kind of stuff. That's only for when you're purchasing. So if you're renting, do you have to pay for that kind of stuff? I think it's called Arnona, right? Or is that something else?
Arnona is the municipality tax. Arnona is for the service of the roads, the lights, the rubbish bins, and tax for living in certain areas. Now, Ramat Poleg and Yamim is an expensive area. So the municipality is expensive. But yes, you have to pay for water, electricity, gas, all of those things. Forget what you paid in America. In Israel, everything is very different.
Yeah. So is the amount, let's compare apartment versus house, because the 2 videos you sent us, one was of a house, one was of an apartment, and the price was actually, I think the apartment was more expensive than the house. So can you explain why that is?
I can. First of all, I showed you a lovely 5-roomed apartment in a new building with an indoor swimming pool and with facilities. Rosin Brigger Yama sent them an apartment, which is only like 5-6 years old. And it's got all the facilities. It's got a children's playground downstairs, it's got tennis courts, it's got everything you could want. It's got lifestyle. So there you're paying premium price. It's also front line to the sea. So you're paying price for all those things. And I sent you a house, a pretty little house, which is, let's say, 10 minutes walk away from the shore, which was quite small, with a lovely little garden that possibly needs a little bit of love and care to renovate it, to make it a bit more modern. So that's the difference. But apartments in Yamim, you can buy an apartment in Yamim, anything from 2.7 to the sky is the limit. It's a matter of how close do you want to be to the front. Do you want a building with a swimming pool? If you don't want a swimming pool, reduce your costs. There's loads and loads of things to take into consideration. And again, that's all things that I explain to each person as we go along.
Obviously, if you're looking at an apartment which has a pool, which has a concierge service, then the monthly management fee is going to be more expensive, comparing it to a building that hasn't got the pool and hasn't got the concierge. So all these things you have to take into consideration.
Yeah. Now let me ask you, the country club, which you took a video of that country club. How much is a membership for that? Like, let's say you go to a building that doesn't have all these amenities, and you decide you just want to do like a country club.
That's what lots of people do. So say a family of 3 children, and I'm telling you roughly, if you'd like me to get for the girls a proper price list, we can do this. And I'm giving you a rough idea around about, you just calculate it. You just calculate about 11,000, round about 11,000 shekels for the year. And that includes absolutely everything. It includes basketball, tennis, swimming. Rosalind, tell everybody what your kids do at the country club.
Yeah.
Soccer, capoeira, Krav Maga, swimming. They do it all.
Hip hop.
Yeah.
We haven't hit the hip.
I've done some for a few times. I'd like to do a little Zumba.
You know, there's swimming lessons, tennis lessons.
If someone doesn't want to do the country club membership, I know from other cities that most people go to the matnas, like the local community center, and they have the chugim there, all the extracurricular stuff there, which I'm imagining is probably more affordable than the country club, what the country club offers. So I don't remember, Robert, if there was I don't remember if there was a video of the matnas in what you sent me. Is if one wanted to go to the local matnas, where is it? Is it close by?
Okay, the matnas is at the top of the Yamim where Robert showed you the shopping mall. So it's there right next to it. And yes, you're right. You can have monthly activities for the kids. They do all different things there. And there you pay per activity. So you might pay 300 shekels a month per child per activity. And there's also for older people, as old as like me and not you guys, that we can go in the morning and do pottery and Israeli dancing and things like that.
I'm sorry, my son was knocking on the door, so I didn't hear. Where exactly is the matnas? Is it close to the piano?
Behind the piano.
Behind the piano. Okay, cool. Is the piano in development or is it actually active now? Like, are people using it?
Mm-hmm. Roz, you go for that one.
It's
McDonald's. Kosher McDonald's.
Right, Kosher McDonald's. I mean, people are definitely using it. They're there every day. It's filled with people, kids. They have activities. I've only been to like one of them. Have you been to them, Maxine? The activities. No. They have night activities there. They bring in like somebody singing and some picture stuff. I don't know. But they've got a lot going on there. Not everything is open because Corona. It was opening right when Corona started. So I think things are moving a little slow. People aren't 100%.
I'll tell you what's open there so far. Since I'm a girl that likes to eat, I'll tell you about the food places. So there's a lovely kosher bakery. It's open. Everywhere in the piano is kosher. So we've got the kosher McDonald's, kosher bakery, kosher pizza, kosher ice cream. If anybody's getting hungry, then just let me know. Roz, it's needed. A butcher's, fabulous new. Roz, have you heard about the new butcher's? It opened last week.
I haven't been yet. Looks
A
nice.
fruit and vegetable shop called Tiras, which means corn in Hebrew, which is owned by a girlfriend of mine. Nearly all of them, because I've lived in the area so long, I know all the owners, so don't worry, we'll have
So
to
are
meet.
you like Maxine, are you like the unofficial mayor of this area?
You got it.
Is that true, Roz?
Yep.
But
Do
I
you
don't know how to be a politician. I don't know how to make up stories. I only know how to hug and kiss and tell the truth.
Let me ask you, when let's say we move to the community, and I know, like, when I move to a new place, I always plug into the mommy groups. So is that like a thing by you guys? Do you have mommy groups?
Definitely. We have lots of WhatsApp groups for, depending on every type of thing you want. You want the events, you want, the different ages, the Rosh Chodesh clubs, the this, the that. We've got them all.
Amazing. Well, you just touched on something. So I teach. I'm very into Torah learning. What's the spiritual vibe like in your community as far as learning? Is it like, my concern initially when I saw the community by the beach, I was like, oh no, it's probably not going to be the most religious place, and that's fine. I'm not looking for like a ultra orthodox place. I like places that have diversity. But for people who are more spiritually oriented or more learning centered, is there opportunities to go to classes or learning programs or things for women? Do you guys have anything like that?
So we definitely do. There's, again, ages vary in some sort, different things, but there's a Rosh Chodesh group, which that happens to be a bit of an older crowd. And they do also shiurim during the week, once a week. At the shul, they have the rabbi gives, and one of the gabbai from the shul, he's also a rabbi, doctor, he also gives a shiur twice a week in English. The rabbi does once a week in English. And on Shabbat, they do you want to say?
Yeah, we could do somebody with like you there, Rina, so you could do a shiur as well once a week. There you go. You'd come, make Italian, you'd have a job.
There's plenty of people here, actually. If you said you want to give a shiur, people would be interested in come. My husband, actually, when we first moved here, used to give a Gemara shiur to some of the old men here.
Well, I teach, I teach Jewish meditation and Kabbalah for women. So I'd love to do that. Okay, so Aubrey's asking.
We need you.
Yeah, we need you. Rose's husband just got smachot. Recently.
A smicha to be a rabbi?
Yep.
Well, mazel tov. That's a really big thing. Okay, so Aubrey's asking, is it possible to get around town on foot, or do you need to own a car in this area?
Okay, in Ramat Poleg and Yamim, everywhere you can get by foot. If you want to go out of the area, there's all little shuttle buses, or you can get taxis are very cheap.
Like an Uber?
Yeah, like an Uber type thing. It's called Get Taxi we've got. My mum, bless her, who's 76 and lives in Yamim, she's so happy she's found Get Taxi. She's like, it's a
They also have that zip car.
Zip car.
That's right. The zip car where, you have a membership and you just take the car up from the street.
Oh, yeah. Car to go. Yeah.
Oh,
Yes.
That's so cool.
Yeah. Got them everywhere.
So let's say, like, my husband works in tech, so I'm assuming his work will probably be in the Tel Aviv area. When people need to work closer to Tel Aviv, how do they normally commute?
First of all, before we get to the commuting issue, there's a lot of tech in Netanya, around Netanya, in Herzliya, in Renana, Kfar Saba. Everywhere in Israel, there is tech centers, so it doesn't automatically.
Oh, they got.
You guys here?
No, I don't. They got paused a second. Maybe they'll come back.
In Tel Aviv. We have.
Oh, yeah. No.
So I used to work in Ramat Gan some years back. We have 3 train stations in the Netanya neighborhood, and literally a 5-minute bus to the local train station, and 20 minutes you're in the central Tel Aviv. So, and then and the buses as well, leaving Poleg, you have direct buses leaving Poleg going everywhere, going into Tel Aviv, going to Rina, to Herzliya, everywhere. Great system.
And okay, so let's say you want to take your kids to the gun. How far is the gun from the main area, Yamim, Poleg area? Is it walkable, or do you need to drive them?
Everything's very walkable. Sorry. Also, I just wanted to add, everything's very walkable. I have friends who don't drive, walk their kids everywhere, to the Carly Buff, to the different guns, to the mall, and do fine. Also, there's, I know some of my friends' husbands who work in tech and go to Herzliya, and they carpool together. So a lot of people also do things like that.
That's awesome. Do the guys have a mommy group or a guys group, or not so much?
There's a few like young shul groups that everybody's in, and you'll see a few of the big shul guys, the younger ones. It's all them talking and joking back and forth, and everybody's just in on the WhatsApp, but no one really participates besides the guys joking around and things.
Do they have like basketball groups or things for the guys to like, hang out?
Okay.
I know my husband will love that.
Are you ready? Are you ready for this one? So a year ago, Rosie's husband, who's a fantastic basketball player, asked me if my company would sponsor the shul basketball team. Go on, Ross, tell them about it.
So my husband's a huge sports guy. He played for basketball for Netanya actually when we first moved here, as did I. But
oh, okay.
But so yeah, they started a shul league a while ago, and it's just all the different shuls in Netanya play against each other after Shabbat for like the winter season. And everybody goes and watches the games. It's fun. Maxine now sponsors it. They wear pink jerseys.
So how do you pull that off? How do you get these guys to wear pink?
Maxine, it's crazy the things she pulls off with this pink. Everybody's doing it, using it, saying it.
Last summer we drove around. We hired a pink bus, and we drove around the area, going to the parks and giving children, when you were allowed to go near children in a park, giving them pink ice lollies with a business card on it to tell their mummies.
So that's awesome.
You can do in Israel.
Something else that Roz and the family do as well is probably 2 or 3 times a year, they do like Shabbos weekends where they invite people to come and stay. We like to be involved and help sponsor those as well. So we have a big communal Friday night Shabbos dinner where everybody gets to chat to people, and then Shabbos after a kiddush, and then Roz does all activities in the afternoons for people. She's always organizing something.
That's amazing. Okay, so we have a question from Barbara, who's actually Aubrey. She's your mom.
Audrey. Hi, Barbara. You could be friendly with my mom.
We're gonna pick up Philadelphia and put it in Yamim.
Barbara, do you want to ask the question?
She's on mute.
Oh, she's on mute. Let's see if she can get off mute and ask the question.
Yay! Hi, Barbara.
Hi. So all I hear about is pack your bags, get your birth certificate and your marriage license. We're going to Israel.
Yeah.
You know, so yeah, we love the beach. We're both in, thank God, good health. My husband's 80. It sounds like a high number, but he's in great
health. It's not a high number.
No, and I'm 71, and I love learning. I would take your course, Rina.
Okay.
Love learning. I do Tanya, and I try to do as much learning as I can. Is that a place for us?
100%.
I like the small little house you talked about.
Yeah. So my parents used to live in the center of Netanya, and about 10 years ago when we built them, I mean, I was really there with them building it as well. When it was built, my parents came to live in Yamim. Unfortunately, my father passed away, but my mother, bless her, is in the area. She's in the older Rosh Chodesh group that Ross was talking about with all her friends. We've got a fabulous older community of English American, some amazing people. If anybody ever wants, as well, girls, phone numbers of people to ask to chat to, welcome to pass that out as well.
Okay, wonderful.
Get your
That's great.
backpacks, Barbara. Go pack them tonight.
did you say?
Get your bags packed, Barbara. Go and pack them.
Yeah. Rina, where are you living? Are you in the United States?
Yeah, so I actually was living in LA with my family for the last 7 years, and then we left a few months ago and decided to come to Florida and prepare for Aliyah in Florida. And we're staying in my mom's house. She lives in like the Fort Lauderdale, Hollywood area where there's a big Jewish community. And actually, this leads me to the next question. It was actually for my mom, who is also interested in doing Aliyah. I don't think she wants to have a house on her own. She doesn't want to live on her own. I mean, in California, the way it works with grandmas is that they usually take over the guest house. Like there's like a in-laws unit in the back of the house. Is there anything like that in Israel, as far as like if you wanted to have your in-laws live with you but not in the house and let them have their own space? Is there anything like that?
Not where people. So Robert's just saying we do have houses that, let's say, have like a separate basement or a separate area, but not like a little tiny granny flat that might have one room, that people use them to rent them out for studios, but not really what you're talking like a proper separate house in the lands of the house. Not really, unless somebody buys.
Sorry, go ahead.
Unless somebody buys a big piece of land and then builds something in the plot. But generally that's not really done. It's not the type of place your mum would want to live in, come and live next to you. It'd be a basement type of thing or a little unit next to the house. Depends how much you liked your mother or your mother-in-law.
I love both. I love both. Thank God.
I'm a mother-in-law, so I just love my children-in-laws as well.
That was one of the things that was interesting to see, that there are a lot of basement apartments in Israel. I didn't realize that was like a thing. I mean, I'm coming from West Coast and East Coast. I haven't seen that in Florida or in California, the whole basement thing. So is that something that's like common in the more recent developments?
I think people who are owning houses and have got like, let's say, a little separate entrance basement that they're not really using, people are looking for a bit of extra income. So, you know, you have a nice house and you rent out the basement to a young couple or a student, you get paid $3,000, $3,500, that's nearly $1,000. So you buy a house and you have some income that covers all your expenses, your utilities and your monthly maintenance to the municipality. So yes, quite a lot of people are doing that.
And are those actually like standalone apartments with kitchens, their own bathrooms, it's like its own thing?
Little house. It's not a part. It's like a little house, and then from the little house, it's either on the side of the house or underneath in the basement.
Sorry, go ahead.
It's a separate apartment in a way. The idea, once you're inside, you feel like you're in a small apartment.
So is it a basement apartment or is it outside of the house?
There's both. There's both.
What's it called in Hebrew when it's an apartment outside of the house? What is that called?
Yechidat dior.
Yechidat dior. Yeah, I heard about that. By the way, I'm Israeli. I was born there, and Hebrew is my first language, and I come from a very, very large family. So Baruch Hashem. So I have a lot of local Israeli family that were telling me about this Yechidat dior thing, and I was like, I don't know if that actually exists where you are.
It does.
Okay, so one other question I had was I want to talk more about the properties now. Did you want to go through listings? How did you want to talk about? I wanted to give some examples for people so they get a sense.
Okay, all right. So let me give you a few different examples. So on our book, but like I say, real estate is totally dynamic. So whatever we're talking about today might be gone next week, and next week something new will come in. So let me give you 3 or 4 examples. So in Yamim, let's say not the front line of the video I sold you, a 5-room apartment. In Israel, when they say 5 rooms, you take off 1 room for the living area, so it's 4 bedrooms.
Yeah.
So a 4-bedroom, nice apartment in a building in Yamim can be anything from 2.7 to 3.2 million, with let's say 2.5 bathrooms, nice kitchen, anything between 7 and 10 years old. roughly. Okay, so that's the pricing. Houses in Ramat Poleg. This afternoon, we just sold an hour before our call. We sold in your complex, Ros, on Hadaliot. There's a lovely row of houses right near the country club and right near the shul and right near the beach. So you can go out from one exit of the house to the beach, one exit to the shul and country club is together.
Oh,
so you can choose which one you go to. Do I go to shul today or the country club today?
Or both.
Or both.
Or
Or both.
both.
Yeah.
What's that road called? Do they have that?
Yeah, I must just tell you something very, very funny. Because we've been in Poleg for 32 years, when we were young, Robert used to go to the gym every morning. When they didn't have a minion in shul, they used to come into the country club and schlep Rob out from the gym.
Not just we, they schlepped 3 or 4 of us out every morning to make a minion.
That's so cool.
So this afternoon we sold a lovely house, a 3-floored house, not on the same road. Rosa's got sea view, so it's further back. It's not got sea view, and we sold it renovated at 3,650,000 in shekels. Okay, that's around about $1.1 million, something like that. But I have the houses like I showed you, and then 2 or 3 weeks ago we sold the house in Ramat Poleg at 9.5 million shekels. That's like $3 and a bit million. So we've got that, had a big swimming pool. The Gordons bought that one, Roz. You're going to meet them, Anne and Malcolm Gordon, lovely people
From London.
American?
They're our ages.
Let me ask you something, because you brought up swimming pool. If we wanted to have a swimming pool in the backyard, is that common for the houses, or do most people add that on later?
No, it's a matter of choice. You can either buy a house and it already has a swimming pool. If there's no pool there, you can apply for permission and build a swimming pool. You have to apply. You have to bring in an architect and put plans into the ministry, to the local.
Yeah, but I'm saying, is it common that the houses that are already there have pools or not, or is that not?
Only the more expensive.
Oh, okay.
But it's becoming more common.
Okay.
After COVID,
What's that?
after COVID, people are realizing that it's fun to have a pool in the garden.
Yeah.
And it's really gone up. Even if it's just a stand-up pool. We've just got in our garden a 3x4 stand-up swimming pool. It's not built in the ground. We put it up every summer and take it down.
Yeah, that's what we have also. We just got one, which we're actually thinking of maybe just keeping in the box because it just arrived yesterday.
Don't unpack it. I'll help you unpack it when you make Aliyah. Robert will build it. It's Rob the builder.
Okay. So, and then this is a really important thing also is we know a lot of people are concerned about their children transitioning with the language in the schools. Is there a lot of support, do you know, in the schools as far as helping Olim kids with Hebrew, like as far as tutors or ulpan or anything like that? What's the support system for helping the kids transition?
So I'll give you an example. Sorry, please.
Ross, do you want to answer that one?
I mean, if Robert knows information, he can add it. I'll say what I know is I know in the schools, they do have some sort of after, like for the Saharon, there's a special program, I believe, that will sit with the kids and help them with their homework and help them, transition in the ability to, stay with the school work. Outside, I think you get ulpan. I'm not sure how it works here for kids, but you get so much ulpan paid for.
Oh, right, when you first, yeah.
So, but in my experience from the kids I see, my kids were born here, so they speak perfect Hebrew, thankfully. But the kids transition very well most of the time. They go into the school, they start the friends, they're talking all the time, and they switch over to Hebrew pretty quickly.
I'll give you another example. We had the customers that made Aliyah from Manchester, the Samuels, how long ago?
4 or 5 years ago.
5 years ago, 3 kids. The youngest will have been around 9, 12 and 14. And they came with no Hebrew whatsoever. Didn't even take Hebrew lessons when they knew that they were making Aliyah. They didn't even have Hebrew lessons before they came. They went into a school just next to Ramat Poleg, literally a 2-minute drive away. They were introduced into the school system, and every day they had somebody next to them helping them do the translation. And it was just an amazing introduction into the school system. And they picked up within 3 months.
Kids pick it up.
Within 3 months, they were speaking Hebrew. And now, they're only here 5 years, they speak Hebrew amongst themselves.
And their eldest son went in the army yesterday.
Yeah.
Wow. Now let me ask you a question. As a mom, and many moms I know are sort of freaked out about the army. If you didn't want your kids to go to the army, and I know this is a bit controversial, but let's say you didn't want your kids to go to the army, or your kids don't want to go to the army. Is there another alternative as far as serving the country without having to go to the army?
Okay, first of all, when your kids have lived here and been assimilated with other kids at school and wherever, your kids will 99.9% want to go to the army. It's something that kids grow up with. They grow up with a love and passion for their country and want to serve the country the same as their friend Yossi sitting next to him doing the same thing. So that is something that people worry about when the time comes, the kids want it. Let's say, God forbid, for any other reason, health reasons. Our middle son had very, very bad health reasons, and he did Shirut Lomi. So he did a very, very worthwhile service. He donated his time to helping Down syndrome children in a school. He went every day from the morning till the evening. He worked with the kids. He worked in a factory. So there are lots of different programs that can be done. The girls do Shirut Lomi if they don't want to go into the army, but it's something that the kids love and they all want to do it. So I'd try and explain to people, don't worry about something that's so far away that just automatically the procedure just happens.
Got it.
And also, Americans think the army, for myself, I know, because of course I'm terrified for my kids to go to the army. They're very young right now, so it's not relevant today. And my husband is huge Kravi, so I know they're going into the fighting units and everything. But the army doesn't mean fighting. There's plenty of army jobs that are not Kravi, that are not, going out there, doing dangerous things.
Exactly.
So you can still do a full army service without being in danger like that.
If your child isn't sort of in that sort of group, they will find him something else to do. Maybe in logistics, maybe on computers, maybe on electronics, maybe on anything. Maybe become a spy.
Nowadays, the army doesn't want kids not to be happy. There's been so much proof in the last X amount of years that God forbid, Shalom Nida, that a child unhappy that could do something or what have you, they want people to be happy. So if that, like the saying, there's a cog in every wheel. So the army needs to have all different people. It can be somebody, like Rob said, logistics, somebody making lunch, somebody doing the laundry, all the different things. And it's all necessary.
I hear that. That's a really good perspective. I think a lot of people need to hear that, especially young moms who get nervous about it. Okay, well, this has been wonderful. Is there anything else anybody wants to share before we wrap it up, or any questions? Audrey, do you have
Yeah.
So I'm doing this with older children. My youngest will be 12 next month. She'll be 15. Then I have a son who's 17. What's life like for teens in the community? We have a very vibrant community where we live. How is it there for teenagers?
Okay, absolutely wonderful. You won't see them. They'll be out meeting with friends. They're safe to go out in the street. They're safe. I mean, a friend of mine, a new girl just made Aliyah, say a friend, every client of mine then becomes my friend because I love people. So a friend came from Prague, made Aliyah about 3 weeks ago, and she said she could not believe how she could let her 8-year-old walk from wherever she was on the beach to go and buy a drink, to go and buy an ice cream on the road. People are not that. But here, the kids are so free to do what they want to do. Teenagers, They, first of all, they hang around the parks and the ice cream parlors and things like that. And then when they're older, they go to the parties. Social life is the best.
That's awesome. And what about for the little ones when they're, I mean, I know in America, everything's about scheduling play dates. I have to like do a whole thing for my son to like plan. How is it a lot more relaxed where you guys are?
There you go, Ross. You answer. You probably call Ross 15 minutes before. Can we come over and play?
Lots of play dates go on here, but also because we have piano and the country club, and a lot of the people are in the chugim, so everybody just kind of shows up at the country club. We're all meeting there at piano in the evening time. You just run into everybody with their kids, and the mall. Everybody's all going around with their kids all the time. Also, the culture here is very outdoors, going, biking, rollerblading.
It's a community. When your kids are out wandering around, all of a sudden they'll see the friend from school and they'll go off biking with him, and
or the friend from shul.
Yeah.
So do most people have membership to the country club? Is that like a typical thing?
It's half-half. Some people have it in their building and feel it's an unnecessary extra expense, which it would be. I find, I mean, I also have a shareholder from if you could get a house right around there, it comes with the shareholder, some of the houses, and therefore you get even cheaper prices to join the country.
Okay.
But it has all the chugim, and it's great. People go there at all times of the day, the whole week. The friends are there, you know, and you could throw your kid into whatever flug they want for. If they want to go here 3 times, great. If they want to quit and go here, that's fine.
When our kids were young, we didn't have as many things going on as we did. We only really had the country club and the shul. We used to, Gabriella always tells our clients, our kids work in our business. Our eldest daughter is Gabriella. She tells people, my mum used to put me in here after school after I'd had lunch at 1:32. I'd go to all the activities and have to shower, eat there, and then she'd collect me at 6 home and go straight home.
There are a lot of parents who do that. I see their kids. Where are your parents? No, they're not here.
So I was one of those parents, Roz, that put my kids in. And they all turned out okay.
You guys, I have to go. I have a training start in 2 minutes. I just want to ask really quickly, weather-wise, because I know here in Florida, anything coastal is very hot and humid. Is that the same where you guys are?
It's only, listen, July, August is hot and humid. You have
Rest of the year?
half the year the weather is amazing. You have a couple of weeks of torrential rain, and when it rains, you love it because it's awesome, as you guys say.
Yeah.
And we have 2 months of hot weather, you know, at 30, 35 degrees, probably like Orlando, but it's you know, it's a mix.
Okay, great. This has been so wonderful. Thank you, everybody.
If your girls want to do this again, to ask more questions, then we're here to help. And just to, you know what, just to make the most and enjoy and have fun and get to Israel, guys. What are you waiting for?
Sounds good. Awesome. Thank you.
Add one thing, we discussed Arnona and different prices for apartments and things, but I'm pretty sure, Maxine, maybe you know, when you make Aliyah, you get a lot of benefits also.
You do. And you
some of the
first year,
benefits
you get discount, but only on the first 100 square meters. Yeah, you do. You get discounts. And also in our office, we have a wonderful office manager called Lavana who helps our clients go to all the bureaucracy and fill out do the Arnona for you, with you together, so you don't have to go and sit and not understand what you're being told.
She'll help you connect to the electric company.
Yeah, the
She'll help
Wi-Fi,
you connect to the water,
yeah.
everything.
Amazing.
And whatever she can't do, Rob does.
Okay. You guys are wonderful. Thank you so much. I'm super excited to share this with the ladies. And the best thing to do is just if you could text me, what's the best way for people to reach you? WhatsApp. Okay. I'll share I have your WhatsApp number. I'll just share.
You and I spoke, didn't we, last month?
Yes. Yes, we did.
Just realized it was the same Audrey.
Same Audrey. Just on my son's iPad.
Okay. All right. Great.
Okay.
And don't hesitate if you have any questions, want to know more talk about the young